Allons-y. Probably should have told people we were going live. They'll just have to be surprised. They'll just have to be surprised.
All of our uh
One listener,
listeners
viewer, one's
is
a
gonna miss it.
viewers.
The ones of viewers is gonna miss our show. You know the volumes, I can't hear it, eh?
You can't hear this?
No.
Well, that either worked or it didn't work. We'll find out later. I'm going to check and see if we're live now on Facebook because I think we are. We are live right now. We are live. So it worked. I don't know if it worked well. Hey, Sean.
Hey Steve. It's been a couple of weeks
There we
since we've
go.
been on. So
What has it been? I guess it has, eh? Like,
yeah,
I don't remember the
we
last
weren't
time we
on
were on.
last week.
Okay, well.
We
Oh, that
weren't
was a
on
long
last week.
weekend, right?
Yep. Last
Yeah.
weekend was a long weekend.
Okay, so that
So
explains it. I was busy. You were busy. We were
yep.
long weekending. Uh,
And I
okay.
was sick all last weekend.
Oh, were you?
And yep. I don't know if it was a cold or well, it was cold like symptoms, but it was just crazy.
You dying from COVID again?
Kind of. It's just oh 3-1 London now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it kicked my ass on Saturday. I was a little bit better. Yeah, the other 2 days, but uh, Saturday kicked my ass.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better now.
Thank you.
So, Memorial Cup, who's your pick? Let's start. Let's lead with the Memorial Cup because we're going to talk about everything but the playoffs.
Okay, the DCHL playoffs or
But
NHL playoffs?
well, I don't know. Like the NHL playoffs at this point are not as exciting as previous years. Like the
Well,
Florida Carolinas, just like wah wah.
and then you have Edmonton just coming in and putting a beat down on Dallas last night or this
Oh, did they win
afternoon.
last? See, there you go. I didn't even know. Did they
Six
win last
one,
night?
6-1 this afternoon.
There you go. So, I mean, I want Edmonton to win. I do. I want Edmonton to win the cup. Connor McDavid, I'm all for it, buddy. But like the Florida Carolina,
It's you know what, like Florida and Edmonton right now are dominant. Like I know Dallas, won the first game, but
they won
Edmonton
a
has won the
five
last
minute
two
stretch in the first game, which was enough for them to win.
where they scored 3 power play goals
Yeah,
and an empty netter.
yeah.
So Edmonton has been dominating that series. They're up 2-1. Florida's up 3-0, and they've outscored, I think, is it 14-4 or 14-4 or something, or 16-4.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched more than about 15 minutes combined in all three of the games because it's just been such a beatdown every game. Like
So
it's just been,
yeah.
yeah. It's like watching men play a bunch of boys. Like there's no competitive nature to the games.
No, it's
So
been crazy.
and
Uh,
I
mm,
the Memorial Cup has been more interesting to me competitiveness wise than, and I
so it
think you and
looked
I have differing who's going to win opinions on this.
well.
So
Yes, I think so. It's London is winning 3-1, and there's 10 seconds left, and they just scored their second and third goal in the last 5 minutes of the game. So they the game was like 1-1 or 1-0 Rimouski. Uh, so I think London is the best team in junior hockey in Canada and United States. They are like awesome. So I I think the only team that will give them, I think all the games are going to be close because this year the teams are so much closer than they ever are. I've been watching the Memorial Cup for like 40 years. So they are this year they're so much closer than I remember being all four teams. But I think that London is like really, really good. So I I think I'm not sure if you think London is
Well,
that good or
I'm not going to argue. I mean, it's not a hot take to say London is a really good hockey team.
no,
Like
but I think they'll win.
I think I think Medicine Hat is the one team I think that can certainly. It's in my opinion, it's going to be Medicine Hat London in the final, and I feel like Medicine Hat will be the better team. But I'm hedging that bet on the two injured players, Lindstrom and Basha, being last year's versions of Lindstrom and Basha. And if
And
they're not, well, and plus the best player in junior hockey, McKenna.
yes.
Like,
So I just read well this afternoon that Caden Lindstrom is going to play his first game in a tournament because he missed a first game for Medicine Hat and a first game. It was not related to his back injury; it was another injury, and so he's playing tomorrow night. So yes, I think Basha and Lindstrom adding to that team makes him really good, and I can't wait to see how good they like
the one
that.
player that I've been really surprised with that I'm liking his play, and he was on my draft list for this year, but he's going up, and I think in the NHL draft he's eligible, but he's an overager. Is Bryce Pickford, the defenseman? I am every time I'm watching him right now, he's going ding, ding as he's
Hmm.
jumping up my draft board, and I'm pretty sure the NHL scouts are doing the same thing because
Yeah,
he's looking more and more like an NHL defenseman every day. So I don't know. Like I think Madison had with McKenna, who I mean everybody loves, and Lindstrom and Basha, who well I'm biased with Basha for sure, but Lindstrom really good player. He went early in the draft. What did he go like? Third,
fourth,
fourth last year, fourth.
fourth,
Yeah,
and
Beckett sounded he went third.
yeah,
So I mean that's a great team. But I mean Sam Dickinson, Bonk. We can go through the list of the London Knights pretty
yeah,
soundly. Like that's a great team. But
and it's I
even
think
the
there's
two Quebec teams,
I
right?
think there's 13 players coming back that came back from last year's uh, Memorial Cup team that lost in the finals to uh, my
Saginaw,
God,
Saginaw.
Saginaw. Yes.
And I did not. What's funny is last year I was picking London, and I was like, "There's no way London can lose. There is no way, 0% chance London loses." And there they lost. And now
Yeah.
I'm still hurt. My feelings are hurt from last year. But uh, if London wins it, I'm not surprised. But if Medicine Hat beats them, I'm
I'm
not
not
surprised.
surprised.
Right. So, I mean, if one of the Quebec teams, Moncton or Rimouski, wins it, okay, I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah, I I agree with that. And Rimouski, one thing that hurts them is their best defenseman, Spencer Gill, is uh is out.
Why draft?
He's been out since March, I think,
Well,
or
he's been out for a
February.
while. He's been
Yeah.
out for a while. I don't remember.
Yeah. So he's out.
But the Rimouski goalie, I'm a fan.
He's, but he's not even like he's not even the star. I'm not sure if you're talking about. Oh no, that's the um. Yes, yes, yes. There's two goalies. I
I'll look
thought you
up
were
the name
talking.
right now of the
Uh,
goalie I'm referring to.
oh my God, Langevin. I can't remember his first name.
Uh,
He has played really well.
he played.
Uh,
He
for
played today
Maruski. Yeah,
or yesterday. Yesterday, today. I don't know. It's all a blur to me.
today.
Today, he played well today. Like so.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah. Okay. So do you want to talk DCHL playoffs?
yes,
Call up the. I'll call up the schedule here. Apparently, there was a big injury for the Devils in the game today.
really.
Win came
As
with a cost.
the win came in with a cost.
Yeah, Neil Pionk goes down in the second period.
Ooh, strained left knee.
Yeah, and he is
Well,
out for. Now remember, injuries are half as long in the playoffs, and he is out for. He is week to week,
week to
so
week.
probably a week, which is the rest of the series.
Oh, look at that. Josh Norris is hurt. Shocking.
Thank God you were sitting down because wow.
As an Ottawa Senators fan, shocking.
Uh,
Josh Norris is
I
hurt.
I live in near Toronto, and I listen to the. I like to listen to the Buffalo sports radio more than the Toronto. And when Josh Norris went down this year for Buffalo, it was like they were kind of surprised, and I'm kind of laughing, going, "Come on, guys, you had to see this coming." He played like 3 games or something. Like he was
Yeah,
injured right away. Like, oh well, buyer beware. It's not like everybody in the league didn't know that he has an injury problem.
yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, wake up. Just need to look a little bit, do a little bit of research.
there's a little bit of research. They need to start watching our podcast.
I know.
Okay, so New Jersey 1 game away from clinching, but they're down the
So
LPR.
I will predict without Pionk and this game being in Buffalo, I'll predict that the Sabres are gonna make it into win and make force a game 7 in Jersey.
Oh, you think New Jersey wins game 7?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
yeah, I think Buffalo wins and New Jersey. Yeah, I'll give it to New Jersey for game 7.
Okay. There you go. Good. Because I don't want to be picking 32nd. Okay. And does Utah do the old?
Uh, did you just lose your volume?
Did I lose my volume?
Oh, no, okay. It was just me. I know. I think Vancouver wins it. It's yeah. I think Vancouver wins this game.
Yeah. Sorry, Trevor. I'm going to have to support Jean this one. I think it's over. I think it's over in game 5. I hope not, because I don't know. I like longer series more than short series. More
Yes.
fun, more stuff to talk about. But
Yeah.
yeah, not much here.
So it's
Okay.
Vancouver, New Jersey finals. And sorry, Mark, but I'm gonna go with the Canadian team here. Hope hey, we can't get a Canadian team to win the cup in the NHL.
We can't
Let's
even beat Denmark.
okay, that was embarrassing.
We lose to What a great year for Canadian hockey, eh? We lose to
No,
Latvia and we
no.
lose to Denmark. Has there ever been, honestly, has there ever been a worse year for Canadian hockey?
Was 98 that bad? I know 98 when they lost to the Czechs, and I think 98 they lost to World Juniors also.
That was the year they had to have the hockey symposium or whatever it
Yeah,
was to
yeah,
go because Canada was in such disarray because we lost at the Olympics to Dominic Hasek. Like, I mean, really, that's what happened. We got goalied.
yes. Well, and we left friggin' the
And
greatest goal scorer of
Wayne
all
Gretzky
time
on the bench.
on the bench on the break on the like
That was
yeah
Mark Crawford, right? Was that
yeah
Mark Crawford, the coach?
yeah.
Yeah. Because Canada is stupid at making decisions. They really are.
They try to be the smartest men in the room instead
And they're
of just
idiots.
like taking it and going for it.
I will say that Canada's team was pretty good at the World Hockey Championships.
Yes, your
I,
top two centers are McKinnon and Crosby.
and they lost to Denmark, who had
Like
Nikolai Ehlers.
as the only NHL player that he just joined the team. Like, wow.
That that loss is hurts more to me than losing to Latvia at the World Juniors. And I think that's because I figured we were going to lose with World Juniors because they were just such. I didn't expect to lose to Latvia, but I knew we weren't going to win that tournament with the team we had.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean, McKinnon, Crosby, and we lost. I don't know
I don't know.
to a non-hockey power.
I don't know.
Have they ever won a game in the playoffs at the World Hockey Championships before? And my guess is no.
I don't think so.
And they beat Canada. Like, well done, Denmark. We're gonna have to
And
have another hockey symposium.
after after this year.
Maybe we'll have to discuss, how not to pay off hockey players for doing sexual assault on women in hotels in London. That should be the first discussion group that they have. So
Yeah, it's there's no goalies. Like, I don't know. Like you can't lose to Denmark, and I don't know they only gave up 2 goals, but to me it's like your goalie there's no way your goalie should give up 2 goals to Denmark.
by the same token, there's no reason you should only be scoring one against Denmark.
I think you got a good point on that one.
Like, how does Denmark have the puck enough to score 2 goals?
They shouldn't.
I remember when the Canadian women were dominating, and they would, like, this was 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and they would win games like 10-0, and they wouldn't give up 5 shots in the game. They literally could put a pylon in net and win the game.
Yeah.
I feel like
So
Canada, Sidney Crosby at all
and
should be
and
the
this
same
is
thing against Denmark.
I don't know if you remember or but I think it was in the 70s. Team Canada or beat Denmark like 47-0.
At the Olympic Games.
Yeah,
That's like that's like an Olympic record. Yeah, I don't
47 to
remember the
nothing.
game specifically, but I remember that being like a world record.
Yeah. So
Apparently, either Canada got worse or Denmark got better.
way better. Way
Because if
better.
they had Nikolai Ehlers back then, he would have had to score 45 goals to win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's embarrassing.
yes, it
It's
is.
embarrassing. So
So
okay, I also wanted to talk maybe a little about some off the board picks in the draft. I don't know. Oh, no. I remember we wanted to talk about Logan Cooley.
yes.
Jean broke to me 2 days ago, was it?
No, it was today. Wasn't it today?
I think it was 2 days ago that last night maybe,
Wait a minute.
that Logan Cooley is asking for a trade out of Utah. I'm gonna see if I can find that clip that you sent. See if I can find it because that was wow. Where did that
That
come
was,
from?
oh, it was yesterday, 11 a.m. that I sent it.
Okay, Logan Cooley. Here we go. Logan. Hey, Logan Cooley is looking for his way out of Utah. Where's the tweet? There it is. This morning I met with Bill Armstrong and I'll be formally requesting a trade from Utah. I am thankful for the opportunity, but I no longer have confidence in the organization's future. Please respect my decision at this time. I have to say, first of all, I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up finding out his phone was hacked because this comes out of nowhere.
Yes.
But
To
to
me,
that point,
that's
no, go ahead.
to me, that's a hack. It has to be. There was nothing else that was said. Like if it was real, like I follow Elliot, whatever his last name. I follow like all of the like Bob McKenzie, all of the news breakers that you can find in the NHL. I follow them, and they're not. Nobody's picked up the story.
Well, and that's what this article is saying here is that it sounds like it was a they're thinking it's from a fake account.
Yes.
But wow.
So
So hopefully Logan Cooley stays where he is. But that's crazy.
yeah. So Elliot Friedman,
What about Elliot? Does he think
that's
what
the
does he
guy
say?
I follow, and
Oh,
he
okay.
didn't touch it. Darren Drigger didn't touch it. Bob
None of the
McKenzie
big
didn't touch it.
wigs. None of the big guys.
Chris Johnson didn't touch it. Didn't touch it. Pierre Lebrun, like none of the guys that they haven't touched it. So
See, my counter to that is whenever stuff like this comes out and it's fake, there's always a statement from the agent
yes.
that says something like, this isn't true. He's happy where he is. He wants to stay. But
Hmm.
there's been no statement from the agent.
Yeah.
Now,
But
well, Logan Cooley's at the World Championships,
and he just won the World Championships with
and he just won the World Championships. I think that's the first time the U.S. has won, isn't it?
I don't think it's the first time, but it's been a long time. They haven't won in a long time. They don't do well at the Worlds. So
I I
and
I have no functioning memory of them actually winning at the World Championships. So if they've won, it's been outside of my watching the World Championships.
yeah,
Like it's
I
got to
think
be
they've
more than
won.
30 years, 20, 30 years ago.
So
Congratulations to them. It was nice of Canada to roll over and make it easy, but it was against Switzerland too.
yes.
Who had U.S. Switzerland final at the World Junior or World
Huh?
Championship?
Who put a bet um on that, eh? Nobody.
And Nathan Gerber. He's the only former Swedish hockey player I can think of right now. Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. Okay, and finally, let's talk about a couple off the board guys. Do you have any off the board guys you've looked at for the draft this year?
Not a lot. Um, but I have a couple. I'm sure I can find one or two.
Well, I'm gonna just bring one up here. because I know he is. This is the. I will say this year, having looked at it, uh, what's his name, Lettinen. Having looked at it, this year is not as good as previous years. What's his name? I'm just gonna have to cut and paste the actual name here. There we go. Okay, so Atro Leppanen. I'm gonna call up his hockey TV here.
Okay, yes, you're gonna have to because I didn't understand that name.
He is. Let me call it up here. He is a defenseman from Finland who recently signed with the Edmonton Oilers, and
Oh yes.
he had a huge year in the Liga in Finland, over a point per game for a defenseman. He is an amazing offensive defenseman, and there are huge problems. The only problems with him are obviously defensively.
And
But
the fact that he's 6 foot tall.
and he's 6 feet tall. But see, I think he's going to be a guy that if he goes to the NHL, let's talk stealing and floor here.
Yep.
His floor is he plays a year in Bakersfield and then goes back to Finland because he realizes or they realize that he's not going to work out. That's the floor. The ceiling is he's going to be a third pairing defenseman in the NHL who can play on the second power play unit in Edmonton.
So the next Sami Kapanen.
Which that's a pretty good ceiling.
Right?
Yeah. Like I think that this is a good prospect to take a pick on in the draft. But where would I take him? Like he's not first round. He's not first round. He's not Maxim Siplikov last year who went in the second round. Like there's more questions behind this guy than Siplikov. Because he's not a lock to be on the team next year, where Siplikov was. But
Yep.
I mean, those numbers, and if he's playing in Edmonton, like that's
If he even if he's on the second power play, well, okay, second power play, he's gonna get like what, 22 seconds? Because that first power play almost plays all the time. So
okay. But I
20,
I think that this is the guy that's worth a draft pick. I'm not
yes.
picking him in the first round. I'm not picking him in the second round. And any other draft, I would say I'm not picking him in the third round. But this year's draft, I don't know, man. Like he's borderline third round for me. And this is the top off the board guy, in my opinion, this year. The top defenseman for sure. And I'll give you an example. There were some signings this week, last couple days. This is how barren the cupboards are.
They are very barren.
NHL signings. Did you see who was signed out of Europe this week?
Uh I just looked at it. There's
Are you
nobody that
seeing my screen here?
yes.
Henry Ravinskis and Wojciech Stakowiak or
Yes. Never heard of him.
Wojciech or however it's pronounced. He's Polish, but he played on the German team at Worlds. And he had 30 points in 50 games or something. I'm going to add him to my list, but I'm not so sure I'm going to I don't know that he's draft worthy. And he was signed by Tampa Bay. And the other one, I looked at him. Oh, we watched him play, huh?
Oh
Henri
yes,
Ravinskis.
I remember him.
We watched him play at the
Yeah,
World
for Latvia.
Juniors. Yeah.
Yes.
And he's 6'4", 6'3". He's a big
6'3".
guy.
Yeah.
Um, he can play. Like, I don't know if he'll play in the NHL, but he's 22 and again, worth consideration.
Just
But I don't know if I would be looking at taking him. Certainly not until a late round. This this is what this year's off the board draft picks are, is a whole bunch of guys like that.
I went to get my phone because there's a couple guys that I have that I wrote into my phone.
Oh, tell me their names and I'll post them on IMDb here. Or
So
HockeyDB.
Ovia Keskinen. He's 21. He's a 7th round pick in 2023 from Columbus. If that helps you.
On my list.
Huh?
Just between you and me, he's on my list.
Ah, so he's been playing really well in Finland.
Yeah, he had a good point total, good goals and
Yeah.
assists. Yeah.
And he's supposed to be coming over um, to the NHL. He's supposed to be signing with Columbus.
Yeah. I actually read a bit on him. Good option.
So
But again, this is what we're looking at for this year. Is he a surefire? No, not even. But he's got potential to be an NHLer, and that was the 2023 draft as well.
yeah,
So
and I think this is the best college player. Uh, the guy I'm gonna mention, Luke Ames.
I am going to
He's 21. He just signed with Toronto, I think.
Luke.
Hames.
How do you spell it?
Haymes. He is one of the top college free agents. And I've been looking because this morning I read the uh, top Russians they're about to sign and come over to the NHL, and I can't find the list now. I thought that I put it aside.
If you
So
say Grigory Kuzmin, I know you'll never sign him because he's 5'8".
exactly.
If you
That's
say Maxim Shabanov, I know you'll never sign him because he's 5'8".
so
I think the one interesting Russian coming over was Daniil Amurzin. I don't know how to pronounce any of these names, but I'll pull him up onto the HockeyDB here. There we go. Oh, what happened? There he
well
goes.
another
31
Edmonton.
goals.
Who's that?
Daniil Amurzin. He had 31
Emerson.
goals last year. I don't think he signed anywhere yet,
No.
but
Uh,
he was someone that potentially could be coming over in the next year or so.
okay. One of my former draft picks that I had to drop because he has not signed yet, and I was over my 60 asset limit, so I had to drop him. But he was supposed to sign this year, and now I just heard that he's not going to sign this year. He
Who's
looks like
that?
he's only going to sign next year. Maxim Bryakov, a K.
VOR?
No, it's a B, and it's MKSYM. No, his first name.
MKS.
Just give me 30 seconds. Here, I'm gonna.
You're all in love with our prep for this episode today, aren't you?
Yes, I know.
What year did you draft them? I can find that
That
quicker.
was 2021 or 2020? Wait a minute. I know Edmonton drafted him. So
2021.
instead of drafting by year, I'm gonna draft by team.
Oh no, we want
Oh,
Panthers.
Bereskin. And it was in 2020.
Okay. How do we spell it?
Berezkin.
Maxim Berezkin.
Yes.
There we go. He had a decent year.
Yes. And it was talk that he was going to come over this year. And I just read today that he's not. He's going to stay one more year in the KHL.
Oh, so he'd be perfect to draft and then have in your roster, and so you can poach him away from Ja 1 year early.
Yes. Because I can't afford to pick up a player, put him and stash him away because I'm at my limit. So
And you don't have that many picks.
I
Do
have
you have any
lots of picks.
this year?
Yes.
How many do you have?
Like, I don't know,
I'm looking
11?
right now. Oh wow, you got a shit ton of picks. 5 in the first 2 rounds, 7 in 3 rounds, and then 3 over 4, 5, and 7.
I've got 10 picks.
Yes.
So
One more than me. So you'll be able to take Atri easily in the 3rd round then and have that
yes.
quality defenseman prospect and poach him away from the Buffalo Sabres who
Yes. Or I could try to sell my draft picks
for money.
for money or future draft picks.
I feel like Seattle would probably make a trade with you for money.
Seattle is in the same position as me.
Oh, but you,
Yes.
see, I don't know that with the 60. See, this is the thing: is with the 60 prospect limit, I don't think there's a market anymore for selling picks. Like, there's not the huge market there's been in the past. Because
I
I think a
agree.
lot of teams like us are at a point where we've been doing this for a few years now, and we're kind of at a point where the guys, the 60th best prospect on my roster is probably not a whole lot different from what I'm going to pick up in the 7th round.
Okay. So let's go through the list here. St. Louis has 44 assets. He only has 12 prospects. So he could
He's not a guy that makes a lot of. He's a guy that gets rid of picks, not the guy that picks them up.
well, he needs that. He needs prospects. So he would be one guy.
See, I feel like he's a guy that trades that stuff away for players now.
The Montreal Canadiens. He's got 49 assets.
Because he's traded away all his talent to get a good team this year.
Yep. So he's a guy I could sell my picks to.
And he just put somebody on the market today that he wanted to trade. Who was it? Who did he want to trade? Let's look it up.
At Barzell, Matthew
Matt
Barzell.
Barzell, yeah.
Edmonton, Bob, but he has lots of draft picks. So he's got 52 assets, but he's got lots of draft picks. So he's out. Dallas has 49 assets. And then That's it. So if you're in a position like me where you have draft picks to trade or sell,
I
you're
have draft
SOL.
picks to trade. I do. I'm just there's not.
There's
I'm
no
probably
market to
just
buy them.
no. I'm gonna keep my. I'm gonna keep my. I have 9 picks, and I'll have to release like 4 or 5 guys at the end of this. At the end of the off season.
Yes. But even if I release 4 or 5 guys, I'm at uh 58 assets.
Well, you're gonna have to sign some guys in free agency.
Yes. And I've
You're gonna
got
lose
three,
guys to free agency, but you're
I'm
gonna
going to
have to
lose three
sign.
guys to free agency. So, and I'm going to need to sign 2 to 3 guys to free agency.
Oh, and you've got 10 draft picks.
And I've got 10 draft picks.
So
So I've already made a trade to get rid of 2 of them. So I'm down to 8.
for cash.
No, I moved up in the draft.
Oh, okay.
Potentially. So potential trade.
Oh, okay. So with Seattle. It's okay. It's either with Seattle or it's with Edmonton because those guys are trading.
So
Those guys are trading daily. I
it's
don't
a
know how they keep track of it all, but good for them.
it's a potential trade. So
Oh wow. I can't trade right now like that. I can't do those trades because I'd be. What if a better offer comes by and I want to. I want to know what my first round pick is going to be, whether it's 29 or 32. And I want to know where players go in the NHL draft. Like I want I want more information before you guys that make these trades, especially of draft picks. Like what if James Higgins drops to 8th in the NHL draft?
true.
Like what if he drops to 8th and you're sitting there with the 6th pick and you're like, you know what? Maybe I get James Higgins. Maybe I'll just stick here at 6 and hope.
I know.
Like I
It,
can't.
it's
I'm not saying your guys' idea is wrong. I'm not. I'm just saying I'm not wired that way. I can't do that because I want to get the best player available at my pick, and I
I
don't
know.
want to give up. I don't like moving up in a draft unless I know that it's the right move and I'm getting the right price. And usually people overpay to move up.
Yes. And which I'm like I'm willing to do.
And I want to thank you for that in last year's draft. That was
I'm will
very nice of you.
I'm willing to, and I overpaid twice or 2 or 3 times, yes, last year.
Like that trade we made last year, or I don't like who ended up going at 17. Like you had traded the
I
pick at
traded it away
17.
again. Yeah.
But was it EJ Emery that went at 17? Like who went at 17?
No, 17 in the DCHL.
Yeah.
No, I can't
Cole
remember who.
Eiserman. Cole Eiserman.
Yeah,
Big upside player, Cole Eiserman. Don't have any problem with him. But I got Andrew Bash and Dominic Vadinka and Linus Erickson in that trade. And I feel like I got better than Cole Eiserman. Those 3 guys.
I yeah, I think you did. But again, I have too many assets, so I'm looking for quality um,
And my problem
over
now is I have
quantity.
3 asset spots taken up by by Linus Erickson, Dominic Badinka, and Andrew Basher. And that's the problem, right?
Yep.
Is you've got only 60. And I mean, we've talked about this how many times, and I get that it's not going to change, and I hear the other side's opinion, but we want
It's
to encourage people to make moves, not discourage them.
I know.
And the 60 player limit, I know the arguments about managing your assets and your roster, but
And I will tell you, every single person that is making that argument has been at the top of the league since I've been in the league. I would like to see one of them drop to the bottom because for whatever reason and try to rebuild with 60 assets. It
just
limits your ability to build to do that. I feel like every rule that we're putting in right now hurts the rebuilding team. Having to pay for the when you
retention,
buy it when you retain hurts the rebuilding team.
100%.
The only team that gets hurt out of that is the rebuilding team, not the teams that are at the top. Hurts the
No, they
rebuilding.
get advantage of it.
Yeah.
They get advantage
So
of it.
that's my opinion. That's
And I have always been of the opinion, and I've not been a team that has bottomed out and tanked, but I've always been of the opinion I want to do more to have the teams at the bottom move up quicker.
yeah,
I want I want every team to have a chance at being the more competitive the league, the better it is.
absolutely.
More
Absolutely.
movement year to year, better for the league.
Like I don't know, like I've been in the league since 2018. I've made a lot of mistakes. I started with a shitty team, okay? And I made a lot of mistakes, but I'm still 2 to 3 years away from being able to compete for a playoff spot, not complete for the Stanley Cup, complete for a playoff spot. Next year, I still won't have a good enough team because the guys I just drafted last year and the year before, they're not in the NHL yet.
Well, that's the problem with the 60 limit is the length of time it takes for a young player to become eligible to play in the league in the DCHL. And not just the fact that it's a year behind, but the uh, ratings provider really punishes young players.
It
Like
takes a long time
Uri
before the young players.
Slavkovsky last year was rated just enough to be on my fourth line. Like, okay, and he was like that's I was his second year in the league. His first year was absolute shit, but the second year was he was better than a fourth line player. And this is the argument. Like, I want to be able to. JJ Paterka was only good enough to be on my third line this year, and he had 60-point seasons. Like, like, like I want I want to have these guys become eligible quicker, or like let these teams build. And 60 limit just that adds an extra year. I was talking to Seattle's GM Zach about the length of time it was going to take for him to rebuild. And the idea that people have that it's only a few years, it's not true. It's not
No, it's
because these guys come in, unless you're Connor Bedard, you're not these middle line guys are not going to be in your rock. It's another year or two after they're breaking through to the NHL before they're worthwhile in the DCHL.
yep.
Like it's not just enough to have them rated, but they've got to be rated Like a defenseman that's rated 75 is not worth having on your lineup. If he's
And
rated
guess what?
79, that's your third pairing defenseman, if
Yeah.
you're lucky.
So I'm like curious to see what, and I've said it before, teams like Josh that he keeps being able to rebuild on the fly, like hats off to him. Same thing with Ian. Ian has been at the top and he's in the semifinals again. Hats off to him, you know. But I'm curious to see teams that have been at the top, how long it's going to take them to rebuild. And I'm not talking about St. Louis that had an okay team and won the cup
With an okay team.
with an okay team and that just surprised everybody. Pittsburgh had an okay team
Finals.
and just lightning in a bottle,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's just wow. Where did that come from? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about uh, okay. Let's
Teams that are consistently in the playoffs and competitive among the top teams in the league.
every
And
year: New Jersey, Buffalo,
Utah,
Utah, the Islanders, Philly. You know,
Carolina's always in the playoffs.
Calgary, San Jose. You know, so I'm curious to see because Edmonton had a decent team and he went all the way for 1 year. How long is it going to take Edmonton to rebuild?
And he's been lucky in that he won the draft lottery this year.
Yeah.
So
Still,
he's getting a number one defenseman,
how,
presumably.
how long will it take him to rebuild? So that's my argument. And you know, we'll
I
see.
hear you. I hear you. It, the 60 limit, it's just not enough. And like I get it, it won't change. Maybe I'm just whining
That's okay. We're
to the forest, but whatever. It's I want to see more. I want to see those guys. Those I want to see Seattle use its seventh round pick and get a guy and hold on to him, and he makes the NHL. And the problem is, a seventh round pick takes 5 years till they make the NHL if they're lucky, and that's 6 years till they're eligible in the DCHL because we hold back a year, and that means 7 or 8 years because the rating that they're going to get when they start off is going to be shit.
yeah.
So
I'll
you're
give
talking
you
too long.
an example. I noticed that Oscar Back is on the Buffalo Sabres team right now. Okay. I made a trade, I think was in 2019, with the Islanders to get Oscar back. I had to release him last year or the beginning of this year, or can't remember when. I think it was beginning of this year because I needed the roster spot. I was like, okay, he hasn't made the NHL yet. I'm going to release him this summer.
Yep.
And he made the NHL, and he's been a regular for Dallas. He's he's a fourth line player. It's still an asset that I had to give away.
Well, and the argument that is given is you needed to do a better job of assessing Oscar back in order to keep him. And like I get that, except number one, he's a fourth line player, so you've got to weigh that versus some of your other assets. And we want to give, like, again, we want to, in my mind, we, I want to give these teams more of an opportunity to succeed. Not everyone feels that way. Other GMs are quite happy watching the low end teams struggle at the bottom. And I'd like to see more of what Montreal did this year.
Yep.
I'd like to see more of those teams Jump up.
like Vancouver. Like Jean
Credit
took
to
a
those
team that
guys.
was at the bottom and he built himself a team.
Exactly. And it
And,
wouldn't be like, and credit to Josh, like you said. I think you said tip your hat. But I would love to see a bottom feeder team jump into the playoffs and Josh falls out. I'd like to see, and it's not because I don't like Josh and I don't want him to do well, but it's good for the league if teams that don't normally succeed start to succeed.
yeah,
That is when
because
franchises are thriving and better.
as much as I enjoyed a draft, it's not fun to suck.
It isn't. This year was a
It's
very painful year for me.
it is not fun to to be at the bottom of the league, and that's why a couple times I tried to go for it. And then I'm looking at my team, and then I'm looking at the Vancouvers and the Phillies and the Buffaloes, and I'm like, oh,
See, and
my
that's the problem with like I feel for GMs like Zach last year. He went and tore out all the work he'd done in the draft to try to build a team that would be successful last year. And it was a mistake to do it. But I appreciate why he's making that mistake. He wants
but
to compete.
yeah, and the part of the mistake that we need to make sure that we talk about or mention is that Zach's top line was a a second line team on a good team was second to a third line. His top line was, if you measured it against and compared it to the Vancouvers, the Dallas, Utah, Buffalo, New Jersey, Philly, all of those top teams, Calgary, it was it was going to be not any better than the second line or third line of a team, and that is competing for the Stanley Cup. And when you realize that is second, third, fourth line wouldn't even be on these teams, then he was like, okay, why am I what am I doing? So he decided, okay, I got to rebuild from from the bar from the start again and start to acquire draft picks that I can,
He's got to start over the process again.
yeah, which
And
I had to do. I redid twice, and this time I'm committing to being patient, which is really tough because being patient is not being patient for a season.
no,
You,
it's being patient. And again, this is what we're saying is it's adding in there's another season than what you think on that.
yep,
And it's like what's Montreal been? Like 4 years?
yep. Toronto was at the top. Toronto made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. I
In
forgot about Mark.
2020? Yeah,
Something like
2020.
that. Yeah, we're 2025. He's with me, and he
And
went for it.
well, and he's not he's not going to be competing next year. Like he'll probably be better than this year, but
Like,
he's not top four. He's not a playoff team next year in all likelihood. Certainly not a team that we're going to be looking at the start of the year and go, you're top four.
no,
And even top four in our division is going to be struggling to make the playoffs. The fourth best team.
he's gonna
I mean, you
fourth
start
best
off
team's gonna
going
have a hard
Buffalo,
time making the playoffs.
Boston, and now you got to say Montreal and Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay's coming.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay is the division winner next year.
So, but again, it takes time. So, because they, I acquired from last year's draft, Tisha Ginla, Sam Dickinson, Anton Salayev, Stian Solberg, and Yegor Surin. All five of those guys, I'm really high on, and to be my top four defensemen, my top six forwards, all five. And unless like next year they're not going to be on my DCHL team, I'm hoping. Well, Solberg will be rated not next year, the year after.
And my point is, he won't be rated high enough to be good the year
No,
after that,
he'll be rated like 74
which it's
overall.
not functional.
No,
So you're 3 years away from having great, great defensive, like great defensemen.
3 to 4 years away. 4 years away.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
and hey, this is this is
this is
this is the way it is, right?
the pain of trying to make it, of
Again, I
rebuilding.
want a league that has, and maybe it's the socialist in me. That's the Americans in the league are just going to laugh at the socialist Canadian, right?
Well,
But that's like I think the more teams have that reasonable opportunity of making the playoffs and competing at a high level every few years, the better.
mm-hmm.
The more teams we have that are at 50 points at the end of the season, the worse the league is. I think we need more teams. Like, it was really good for this league that Montreal was competing this year. And I hated it because it probably ruined my team.
Yeah, and he
And
built a quality team that's got potential,
and he
and
did it
and it's
like
going to be
full
competing for the
credit.
next few years.
Great, great job.
He
Great
did.
job. And Tampa Bay, when you're kicking my team's ass next year and probably the next 10 years, great job.
And remember last year, Montreal won the lottery and ended up with Macklin Celebrini.
Who
And Tampa Bay,
hasn't even played a game yet.
I know, but still, that's an asset that it means something. And Tampa Bay's got Connor Bedard that started to play for him.
Yep.
So there's only one or two of those guys
Who
every
has
year.
Demidov?
And
Tampa Bay has Demidov.
Tampa Bay has Demidov. But he's still not going to be on his team until next year. Not next year, the year after, because he's not rated. Yes,
Damn,
Demidov
that's going to
dropped.
be Demidov and Bedard. Wow.
Yes.
That's
Well, he
sick.
got Demidov. He didn't. He got Demidov with the second pick.
Which he traded from, what team was it that traded on the second pick in that
Um,
draft?
I'm not going to mention
Somewhere
it
on the
because it's going to
Northwest.
sound like we're piling on.
No, but that again, Matt, but like I'm not trying to pile on Zach. I'm not. But the reason he made these mistakes is in part because he's trying to compete. He did it. He was wrong to do it the way he did it. No doubt.
Well, he
But
was trying to add assets. He was looking for um, to add quantity over quality, and that's a conversation that many conversations that we've had is when you're at the bottom, look for quality, not quantity.
we'll get the quality first.
Yep.
That's the hard part to get. The quantity.
Because when you have on your team a bunch of second and third liners and you know third, fourth, fifth, sixth defensemen and just average goalies, well, you know where you're going to end up? 15, 16, 17
You know what?
every single year.
You know what? Let's have this conversation here because this is interesting. Okay, so we're gonna look at prospects on Seattle.
Yes.
Okay, some of these guys I'm not gonna know a lot about. Some of them I will. Like Adam Yeko, I don't know a lot about. I don't know. Is he a second line forward, third
He's
line?
a 6'5". He's going to be a third line center
Okay.
forward.
Adam
You
Yurchek.
know who? You know who he reminds me of because he's 6'5"? Adam Lowry.
Okay. So a good player to have on your team,
Yeah,
but
but
he's not. You're
third
not
line
throwing
player.
him over the boards down by a goal in the third period.
Third line player.
Yeah. Adam Yurchek is at best a second pairing defenseman, physical,
Yes,
but
I agree.
in my opinion, more likely a five or a four,
But
fourth or
would
fifth.
as a top end to me as a 3.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
think more likely he's ends up being a fourth or a fifth,
yeah,
but has the potential to be a third. He's not a
yeah.
top pairing defenseman. Kazamaki, I remember researching him a little bit last year, but I don't remember much about him.
I neither do I.
Alexander Zetterberg is too short.
And he wasn't drafted last year.
Yeah, he won't. He might be drafted this year, although I haven't seen him on any list, and he's just too small to be in the NHL.
Yeah,
Anthony Romani, if he's the NHLer, he's a fourth liner.
yeah.
Bo
Or
Aki,
third. Yeah,
okay. Bo Aki is maybe a bottom pair defenseman with some upside.
I agree.
Bradley Nadeau, top uh, top
Second
line,
line, second
well,
line
top
winger.
line upside, but probably second line.
And he's had an amazing year in the AHL.
Yeah,
Like, you know what? He I am shocked how well he's played in the AHL, and he's probably going to play in the NHL next year. And like, he has been awesome.
Carter George might be a starter in the NHL. I don't know. Goalies are too hard to figure out, especially the young
Yeah,
ones like this.
but again, like, what do we keep saying about goalies? It takes 6 to 7 years. So Carter George got drafted in 2024 as an 18-year-old. So
He's a while.
2031 is when he hopes to get him. 2031.
Well, and I will say this: he has played well to
Yep.
this point. Like he's not tanking his draft rating. He's playing
No.
at or better than his draft rating.
Yes.
Colin Graff, in my opinion, is a fourth liner in the NHL. He might be more than that, but he's a good bottom six player, but not more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Dominic DeVincentis.
He was the top goalie in the OHL last year. Uh, and I don't remember how well he did this year. I didn't pay attention to him. Um, so he was like, as you said, he's a goalie, right? He could be good in 5 years.
Okay, Dylan Duke. I know a little bit of him. I know the name enough, but I can't really comment on where I think he'll end up in the NHL. But he's probably a fringe NHLer, or I would know him more. Edward Chalet. I liked him in his draft year. I don't know any reason why not to think he's a second line type forward.
Yep. He's a second line guy.
Ethan
Potential.
Procision
Yeah.
was he was like an overager drafted from I think he played in North Bay.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe not even an NHLer. I like Consta Hellenius from his draft year.
Yep.
Again, second line type player.
Yep.
Matthew Savoy, there's part of me loves that kid, and part of me wonders why he hasn't been more in the NHL to this point. Like I wonder if I'm starting to wonder if there's red flags at this point with Matthew Savoy.
Yep.
Nick Lardis had an amazing year last year in the OHL. I wonder how much of that he plays with Brantford, right? With Jake
Jake
O'Brien.
O'Brien. Yep.
I wonder how much of that is Jake O'Brien helping Nick Lardis or Nick Lardis helping Jake O'Brien.
I think it's a combination of both. And I think Lardis, I wasn't a Lardis fan, but I will tell you, shocked how good he is. So,
Okay. Noah Osland, he's not a top line player,
no.
but like I believe he's an NHLer, but I think he's more a third line type player. Maybe second line, middle six. We'll say middle six. Ryerson Leanders, there
We'll
had to be
know.
questions as to why he slipped to the seventh round.
Yeah. And we'll know in 8 years.
Yeah, let me know. Buffalo still has his rights, right? I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. They drafted him in the 7th round last year.
Yeah. And to the kid almost crying because he was so upset. I remember that one
Yeah.
huge. Ty Nelson, I'm not sure. Like I know
You know how I feel about 5'10", 5'11" defensemen.
I need to see more from Ty Nelson before I believe he's an NHLer. That
I love his skills, and as a loved him as a junior player,
but
but
does it translate to the NHL? And that's the question with a guy like Ty Nelson.
yeah,
I need to see how it translates because I'm not.
yeah.
And William Whitelaw is another. Like he's 5'8" or 5'9". Okay, maybe he's 5'10". I just remember watching him and he was tiny.
Yeah.
And like I love the skill on this kid, but I could have drafted him and I didn't because I am not convinced that he's going to be. I took Jesse Kiskinen one pick before him, and it was
Hey,
I'll take Jesse Kiskinen because I cannot be convinced that this is an NHL player.
and you know how I feel about 5'8" players.
Yeah, I don't remember his exact height, but I think it is like 5'8" or 5'9". Like
Pretty
he's
much, like I will tell you that
look
when if I do scouting of a player, like if I see the guy is 5'9" or shorter,
5'9". There you go. There's my memory. Five
I
nine.
move on. I move on. I literally move on. I stop looking because I just feel like the law of average says that he's not going to be an NHL player or a player that I want on my team.
Who was I? I was watching a Will Scouting video on what's his name? It was the last one he did on the Michigan State University forward. Uh,
Oh, and yeah, because I've been watching those videos also in Michigan
ranked
State.
about 14th, 15th in the draft. Malcolm Spence, thank you,
Yes,
Malcolm Spence. And the big point he was making constantly on Malcolm Spence was, is this transferable to is he going to be able to do this move in the NHL? And when you look at a guy like William Whitelaw who does amazing things, ask yourself, is he going to be able to do this in the NHL? And the answer is no, and more often than not. You,
and you know what? And I will use Malcolm Spence, um, because he's 6'2", 201 pounds. So he's on my list to look at because I think his upside is a second line player, but I think he's going to be a third line player. He's going to be a guy you want on your team in the playoffs because he's physical, he plays the right way, he's good enough to skate, he has good enough skills not to be your top end scorer, but to be a guy that plays hard. And I will use the guy that everybody thinks is going to get $10 million in free agency this year in the NHL, Sam Bennett. Not comparing him to Sam Bennett, not saying it's the same guy, but Sam Bennett in the OHL was a top scorer. He was a top line player in the OHL. And Sam Bennett is second line center right now, but he's still um like he's more of a checker guy that's gonna, you know, do everything he needs to win compared to and I think that's gonna Malcolm Spence is gonna be the same way. So that's why to me, the 6'2" guy that has skills that can play, his skills might not be transferable, but he's got to be able to do other things to adjust to the NHL.
Well, and that's the
And
problem with so many of these younger guys or
yeah,
smaller guys is they can't do what they did in junior, and then they can't adapt to playing that new game in the NHL.
yeah,
So if like a smaller guy, who's a smaller guy here? Oh, Higgins is a smaller guy.
yes,
If like I feel more comfortable that Higgins' skill is going to be able to compete in the NHL. So he's not going to have to change how he plays a whole lot. But Malcolm Spence is a perfect example, Jean. And you're bang on right. Because I don't think he's not going to be a top line player in the NHL. He's not going to be a second line player. I think he's going to be a third line guy. I think he's going to kill penalties and be on that third line with some scoring punch to him. Not comparing him to Shane Pinto, but that same kind of you're not sticking Shane Pinto on your top line. But he plays a real valuable role. He needs to score goals, and he's sitting
mm-hmm,
on Ottawa's third line.
yep,
Malcolm Spence is that
yep,
and he's going to have to change how he plays in the NHL. And this year's draft is a whole lot of that. There's this like I don't. This year's is the first year where I have real no confidence in any player. This is my right now. I have 163 names, although I've deleted three who were drafted last year. Daniel you think of, and uh, Thomas Galvez, and somebody else. I don't remember who it is. So I have 160 names on this. And after about pick 60, I have very little confidence as to what these guys are going to be, whether they're NHLers or not. There are some names on here that I like. LJ Mooney, I like, but he's another example of a guy who's too small. That is not like I don't think he transfers to the NHL. He's William Whitelaw.
mm-hmm,
There's
yep.
skill. He can play, but
And I'm saying it. I'm willing to miss on Marty St. Louis because there are too many others that just miss altogether. They're 5'9" or shorter.
yep. And this draft is uh, I like the top end. I really do. The top right. The top 10, top 15. I'd put Brady Martin in the top 10. Easily I'd put him in the top 10. He's on this list, he's 14th. Um, but this is just aggregate rankings. This is the average of all the
Mm-hmm.
Roger McQueen. I don't know what to do with him because of his injuries. Carter Bear, I don't know what to do with him. But there's 10 to 15 guys that I think are really good quality players. And then after that, there's like a whole bunch of, oh, he'll be on the NHL, but what's he going to be in the NHL?
Yeah.
Who's the defenseman that's too short?
Cameron Reed,
Cameron Reed.
6 foot,
Yeah. I
6 foot.
I want to love Cameron Reed. I want to love him. But is he going to be an NHL defenseman?
I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because his high end skills. He doesn't have anything that makes him wow. Okay, Eric Carlson, even though his skating looked awkward, like his first two steps, he was gone, and he has a shot, good skills, like all of that. Well, Cameron Reed is skating is good, his shot is good, his stick handling is good. You know what I mean? Like
Good.
everything is just good. Well, to make it to the NHL and to be a good NHL defenseman, you
He's
need
got
to
to be
have
more.
more.
And
So,
and I just wonder, like, and again, I've watched video on this kid. I want to like him, but I don't think I can take him. Only simply because I don't I don't think his skill translates to the NHL.
yeah.
I don't.
And
I don't.
I will take, I'll show you another defenseman. Um, and I'm, you know, giving up a lot of my draft strategy here, but Blake Fiddler.
Yeah, who's at 25 on this list?
Okay.
Yep,
Blake, Blake Fiddler, Fiddler,
Fiddler.
he's, is top end. He's not going to be a top line like one or two defenseman. I know that. He's probably going to top up as a fourth on your team. But I am very confident that he will make the NHL. So I'm looking for like I'm looking for a defenseman or in the bottom half of the first round, top of the second round. I have two choices: Cameron Reed or Blake Fiddler. Which one
And
do you think
Blake
I'm going to do?
Fiddler is ranked more often ranked below Cameron Reed in draft lists. And
All the
I'm with
time.
you. I'm like this is actually kind of funny because we're usually don't agree this much on stuff. But but if I'm picking like I'm like you. Okay, say I'm picking at 29 and both guys are on the board, I'm not taking Cameron Reed. And part of me really wants to because I love that skill. I love I love watching him, but I just don't see that in the NHL. And you watch Blake Fiddler, and he's not as exciting as Cameron Reed. But I'm taking Blake Fiddler every day of the week before I take Cameron Reed
Yeah.
because I think that the player he's going to be in the NHL works more. The coach is going to put him in the game and not start like Cameron Reed sitting in the press box because that coach is not going to take a chance on Cameron Reed.
Yep.
That's that's Carson Lambos. That's me with Carson Lambos right now because it was the
I
same
agree.
thing. I watched that kid in junior and went, "Holy shit, this kid's an NHLer. He's amazing," and he was good at everything but not great at anything. And you know what that gets him? Top pairing in
In the
Iowa.
AHL. Yep.
In Iowa, yeah. And
Top four defenseman in the AHL.
and Cameron Reed, I just see Cameron Reed the same thing.
Yep.
So, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, wow. There you go. We talked a lot about the draft.
It was supposed to be a short show, eh?
Most of you. Then we got talking in the draft.
I know.
Like, my God, John. Like, I could talk for hours just on this year's draft, and most of it is I'm so disappointed because I was looking forward to this year's draft being way better. And the more I dug into it, the more I went, oh, and I went
But
heavy, deep. I have on my off the board list, I have over 60 guys on my off the board list. Well, and I got to add the two more that I showed tonight. And there's like 20, 25 of them that are even worthy of me considering drafting.
mhm.
And it's like, oh, and I'm sitting with three seventh round picks, and normally I'd be wetting my bed, so excited. And
You know that you're bringing down the value of my picks now that I'm going to be trying to
sorry, it,
sell and
it's
trade away. I'm just
it's
joking.
oh my
I,
God. because even your Keskinen guy that I have on my, I'm gonna make sure I don't share my screen, but on my off the board list for forwards, he is number 8. And he's not that exciting, John. Like
No, no.
he's not that exciting, and he's number 8. Like that's pretty high on my list.
To me, he's a sixth, seventh round pick at best. If
Yeah.
I still have my sixth or seventh round pick and he's there, I'll take him.
Well, it's just not a year where you're like, wow, I really want to get up and go get
Because
this
because
guy.
last year there was two guys that it was Siplakov and Jesse Peltonen, Pel the 6'6" defenseman
Defenseman.
there.
Oh, okay. I know who
Those are
you
the two
mean.
guys that I'm like, wow.
Okay. Well, and I had what's funny is Zach took Colin Graff in the 3rd round last year.
Yeah,
He was on my list, but he was on my list for like the 4th or 5th round. And last year was a decent year for off the board guys.
I
This
agree.
year is not anywhere near as good. And I could be taking off the board guys in the 3rd round this year who aren't as good as Colin Graff was last year. Because that's how little depth there is in this year's draft.
I agree.
So people talk that 2022 was the shittiest draft. And after pick 20 in this draft, 25, somewhere in there, I could be like, yeah. That's why I desperately wanted Ian to lose in the 2nd round. Because there's a big difference between pick 18 and pick 20, 29 or 31 or 32.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because
And last year it wouldn't have been as big a difference.
around 20, pick 20, there's a drop off.
It really, you really start to see it. Like it's not, it's
So
not exciting. So yeah. Oh, and I guess I can say this. I don't know if I've announced this, but maybe I will. This year's draft is going to be done a little differently.
really?
Rounds 4 to 7 will be post your pick in the thread.
No way.
Mark, well, I'm good. Well, okay, let me say this. I'm going to put it onto the league and say, hey, anyone have a huge problem with this? And if people do, then maybe we won't. But first of all, for people like us that actually do the research and stuff, it's to our advantage to do it that way. So, yay. But people have always complained about the lists. And it's my point on it was I don't want to sit for 3 days and give up 3 more days to push people. But Mark's going to help. And the two of us are going to do it. Maybe we can get a third person or something. And if we can do it and it doesn't take like 4 or 5 days to do it, and it's not people just constantly missing their pick and having to go BPA,
Yeah.
then I'm happy to do it.
And if
I
you're
just
not interested in posting your pick, send us a message, say,
well, that's just it. Like if
I'll
people
BPA.
but if we have to go 30 minutes waiting for 10 picks a day, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It won't work.
So,
But if
so
people are either sending a list or making their picks right away, then you don't even have to. You can just send a list. Say 3 picks away. You send me a list of 4 players. Give me this guy if he's available,
yeah.
and I can tell the league. And John, you will back me up on this. If you tell me your 3 players, I guarantee your 3 players ain't affecting what I'm going to do because
I agree.
my list is already done long before you've sent me your stuff.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm making a move because of what you're sending me, nope.
Yeah.
So hopefully that like I want that to work this year because I like the idea of letting people make their picks.
And I can help, but I like you know about me in
Yeah, yeah,
technology.
yeah.
So as
You
long as
have
I
this
don't
thing
have
called
to,
work. You have
as
this
long,
thing called work.
yeah,
I get that. I have the summer off, but I ain't giving up 3 straight days because like people don't realize I have to sit by my computer the whole friggin' day, and
um,
not gonna happen.
what do we know what date the draft is? It the 7 days after the NHL draft? Like
Yeah,
the day?
okay. Just looking at a calendar now. Yes, it will be. The NHL draft is starts the 26th. Is that right, or is it the 27th? June 26th or 27th. It's the Thursday or the Friday. I don't remember. Our draft will be starting. It'll be July 5th. The
Yeah.
Saturday we'll do the first 2 rounds. The 6th will be the third round and into the fourth round, hopefully. And then 7, 8, 9, whatever we need to do to get through to 7.
Okay.
Like that would be great. Um, I think Don's going up to Ottawa that weekend, so I will have the house to myself. Yay! Well, Don is my wife to the people that aren't named Sean. So, I think Ian might have met her once too, so maybe back in the old days. Oh, and probably not going to happen, but I was having talks with a former GM in the DCHL about co-hosting the draft and doing it the way he used to do it, Matt Waters, with he made it look like TSN draft tickers and stuff. Like it was pretty cool. But because we had this dumb election in Canada last month, and he works for the government, he might not be able to do the prep work for it. So,
Okay.
oh well. But that'd be
Well, if you
cool if we
can,
could
that'd
do
be
it.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, what would probably happen, John, is I would go to Ottawa for the draft, and the three of us can get together and do the draft, probably in Matt's basement.
I'm in.
He lives in Orleans, so I don't know. Where do you live? Oh, I know where
Atro
you live.
knows.
I've been, forget it. I've been to a restaurant near your house because I checked with you to see if it was good.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that would be great if we could do the draft like that.
Okay.
And I want it to work. Believe me. I'm just very skeptical because I know that once we get into the later rounds, people aren't as vigilant.
Just send us your list or
Well,
tell
that's
our
just it.
BPA.
Like if you don't want to participate this way, send me your list and I'll get you your pick. And I guarantee your list will not affect mine. Like I won't be looking, hey, you've got this player. I better move up with my pick and take them before you because
Yeah.
I do not I don't
And
look at it that way.
and I know you're the same way, Steve. If you send me a list and there's a player on it that I did not have on my list, and I'll do some research, and if I think that he's going to be an awesome player, I will not draft him because like I don't believe in stealing from
Credit.
somebody else's,
No,
doing all the work and all that.
credit to the GM that does it. But
Yeah.
I if you've snuck if there's a guy that I've missed at this point, I've looked at over 100 guys off the board and I've put 60 something on my list. If you've hit somebody that I haven't come across, wow, good for you. And it's
Yep.
good player,
Yep.
credit to you. Like,
Yep.
no
I
one
will.
would be prouder and happier than for someone to sneak one by me.
Yep.
Honestly,
I completely agree. If you, like,
I
I'll tell you, Colin Graff, he is doing so much better than I expected him to do. Like, I was like, good for you,
oh,
right?
Zach's looking to move Toronto third. He's watching the show and he's going, okay, these guys are saying third round picks aren't worth anything, so I'm gonna look to trade mine. Yeah, I agree. Like if somebody has actually done the work and found the player that's good, that's better than anyone wow.
Yeah.
And every year I'm doing those lists when you send me in.
Oof.
There's
It's
always
not,
guys that sneak through that I
it's
didn't
not
have.
just a Toronto third, eh?
But
It's the Florida third, Toronto third, Florida third, Seattle third, Florida fourth, Colorado fourth, and Pittsburgh seven.
hi, Zach. We know you're watching now.
So,
We know you're watching, buddy. Yeah, well,
um,
there you go.
also, uh, Flax earlier sent me a message. The Carolina Hurricanes of the NHL are 0-15 in their last 15 games in uh, the conference finals.
Meaning that they've never won a game in the
The
conference
last
final.
their last 15 games, the last three series in the conference finals, they haven't won a game. 0-15 in the conference finals. The last three times they've made it.
Oh, Flax, throwing down the gauntlets here.
In the NHL.
Oh, in the NHL.
NHL.
Oh, okay. Well, because I'm pretty sure someone could point out that he lost to Buffalo in the
No.
DCHL, but nobody's going to do that on this show. When I needed you to win, Flax, you were my last hope. Yeah,
Failed.
why don't we end it there with the Flax shout out?
Yep. We've almost 2 hours now, so yeah, we're
When
good.
we wanted to do like 45 minutes.
Yes.
So okay. Not sure if we'll be back next week or not. I'm in Windsor for a work thing and maybe back in a condition to do this or maybe not. Well, and I'm not sure whether Jean might have to work.
True.
True. So
True.
he might be delivering things around
No, definitely not gonna happen.
he'll be at my door. Hello,
Yeah,
did you order something from Canada Post?
never gonna happen.
Okay, so see you when we see you, I guess. Hopefully next week, but I make no promises.